everyone. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko with you, and it's a real treat to have Bob Blyer back. Aquinas Hall of Fame quarterback, University of Richmond Hall of Fame quarterback, and former NFL quarterback with the now vanquished New England Patriots. Good to see you again, man. It's been a while.
Oh, great to be here. I love this forum. I love this discussion. I just love everything about Rochester, and this is a good chance to talk about it.
And we missed you. And of course, our stud regular, Tariq Spence. Good to see you again. How was your holiday?
Always great to be around family. Holiday season, brand new year on the way, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, very good. By the way, speaking of years, this will be the 11th calendar year that this show has been on the air.
11 years.
Thanks to the nod to the people at Channel 13 for tolerating us for this long to start with. So, look, let's talk football. I go to you. I love to ask you these questions. I have you on because you've been in these locker rooms. You've been in locker rooms at all levels. So we have the Cole Beasley situation with the Buffalo Bills. It's clearly he's been open about the whole vaccination thing, and now he's on the list. He's hurt the team because of his unavailability. In that locker room, is that an issue at all? The whole thing, it came up with Aaron Rodgers and it was debated hot and heavy a few weeks ago.
It was.
It's localized now. Is this an issue?
I think the real issue is who's the leader in the locker room. Many times, the senior players are the ones that have the voice, that have the narrative. But we're in unprecedented times. This whole COVID thing just has changed everything when it comes to sports. There are a lot of people that are really determined to be anti-vaxxers. But if it's going to hurt your program, and if it's mandatory to get vaccinated so that you can play, you're getting paid for the sport, I really don't know what the drawback is. I'm confused about the whole thing, but it definitely has to hurt the narrative in the locker room without a doubt.
So as a player, I mean, you can't be, no matter what you might say publicly, you can't be totally comfortable with that situation.
Not at all. If I'm a quarterback throwing to this guy and I expect him to be there each and every game, and he is a crucial third down receiver as well. Most of his catches are for first down. So as a quarterback, I'm a little upset about the whole process as well.
Tariq, we've been through this before. Again, the Aaron Rodgers came up and we've debated this and we've talked about it. It's almost like when this happened, and the Bills have been one of the teams that hasn't been really well represented in the vaccination category. Yeah. It says, God, it's coming to hit them at just the worst time of the season.
Well, it's interesting because I think about a very good point is about leadership. It also starts with coaching, too. The coaching and the belief and the understanding of, okay, if you want to go down this road, if you do not want to be vaccinated, that's fine. We're going to have to mask up. We're going to have to protect ourselves. We're going to have to wash everything down. We're going to have to make sure that we're all on the same page here. So if we lose somebody, there's a next man up mentality and somebody else can come in. You see how well they play with McKenzie, now with Sanders and all these other different wide receivers. Cole Beasley has been going through sort of a rib injury thing for the last couple of weeks. So he hasn't been 100% anyway. This gives him a chance to sit down. He's been really more vocal about this vaccination situation than anything else that he's provided on the field. But I think this, you see it in the NBA now, guys getting 10-day contracts. It's next man up. The leagues have decided we're going to play through this. If this affects your team, it's on your team now. So we're getting to a point where we're at the playoffs for the NFL. We're at a crucial point where 6 or 7 days might be your season.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
And also, now I was looking at it, trying to draw an analogy, thinking along the lines of maybe something you said about how tough the organization can be in terms of imposing their will in a situation like this. But New Orleans, the Jets, there's a third team that got like 20 guys on the list.
The Chiefs were hurt too.
They're in far worse shape than the Buffalo Bills. So it's not just a matter, and these guys have got high profile, strong coaches, all of them. It isn't just a matter of saying, look, do it. You can't do it.
Who's committed, though? I mean, you think about the Cowboys, you think about all the different things that have gone on with that organization and whether or not, you don't even hear any chatter from them. Like, it's almost as everybody's committed on the same page.
Well, when Cooper went out, Jerry Jones came out and says, he can't do this to us.
And what has happened since then? They've done very well. They won the division. So it's everybody down. I think you're right. The leadership, who's owning the team, who's coaching the team, are we all on the same page? And if we're not, then realize that you might be a detriment to our team.
Well, here's the one thing I do have a problem with, is if I'm in the wide receiver room and I'm watching film and one of our guys goes down with COVID, ultimately I think what that means is now everybody in that group is at risk. And personally, if I'm in that position group, I'd be a little upset about the negligence of not getting vaccinated because now I'm at risk. Everything's incentivized in the NFL. This is where guys make a lot of their money in the end of the year. Number of touchdowns thrown, number of touchdowns caught, yards rushed, the whole 9 yards. So this league is about money. And if guys can't make these big paychecks at year end, it's a problem.
And then as far as the Buffalo Bills go, Isaiah McKenzie pretty much took it off the table by having such a great game in Beasley's absence. We're at the Rochester Press Box. We're talking Buffalo Bills next. Thanks for joining us and welcome back here to the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko, Tariq Spence, Bob Blyer with us. This segment, our Buffalo Bills segment, brought to you by Ralph Honda for 3 generations, celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today. Find out how we do Honda right. RalphHonda.com. Tariq, I can't remember. Did you pick it? The Patriots game?
I picked the
Okay,
Bills.
of course. If you don't remember, I picked the Bills.
I picked the Bills all the way. It was the week before that I got a little emotional with Carolina. But really, for the Bills going forward, I mean, listen, I think you're in a great position. Don't play around with Atlanta. Don't play around with New York. Let New York go through what they're going to go through with Tom Brady this week, and then just let them wrap up their season and be ready for you next week. Atlanta, though, is right on that bubble. They're a little bit scary here because they're on the outside looking in. Maybe if they put a good showing against the Buffalo Bills, they could try to advance on. I don't think they will. Mm-hmm. I think the Bills defense has held them down all year long. And look what happened last week when they ran the football. So we had to bring in Bob because I know Duffy would never give me credit for how well they ran the football last week with Singletary. And look at that.
But Bobby's quarterback.
This is true.
He's throwing every day.
How more so than Allen? Allen had a great running day yesterday, too.
But 2 things that I wanted to get from you is first, is there a psychological push for the Bills having gotten over that hurdle?
I honestly believe that winning in New England was a huge milestone for not only the Bills, but for Josh Allen alone. Typically in a big game, the Bills have a tendency to play down in a level of football. I don't understand that whole concept, but this was the first time I felt they really stood up when it was meaningful, when it meant something, and when it had a huge impact on the playoffs. This was the first time I thought they really stepped up.
And who are you rooting for? You played for the Patriots. You've been in Western New York for your life.
I have Bills fans in my house. So I quietly squeeze for the Patriots.
You do?
Forever, quietly, just silently. But I thought to myself, if Buffalo can stop the run and make Mac Jones beat him through the air, I knew there would be just too much in front of him where he wouldn't make a lot of good, accurate throws. And that's kind of how it played out.
Yeah.
They couldn't play catch-up. New England's not a good catch-up team.
I mean, he's still a rookie quarterback. I mean,
love the guy,
as
though.
much as Mac Jones has improved, but you got a lot of tape on him. You got about 10 weeks of tape on him.
Right.
And so the Buffalo Bills defense was able to adjust. They knew exactly what happened last time. They weren't going to let that happen again, where the guy only threw 3 passes and still won the game. So, I mean, you kind of saw this coming forward until that Bills defense. But the Bills defense, first quarter, third quarter, they just shut everybody down. They wait for the offense to figure it out. The offense figures it out. They get a lead at halftime. It's still a good close game, but in that third quarter, they've done a great job adjusting. So they need to do that again.
And you're going to take a breath. You're going to play Atlanta. It's a 13.5 underdog on this. You worry about. Again,
I don't know. I mean,
I overplay the whole trap game thing, but it's after the Patriots game, Atlanta coming in, 13.5 point line.
Don't sleep against Atlanta. I have a bad feeling against Pitts, who's had a great rookie year. Matt Ryan's a former MVP. I don't know if he's got enough in the tank here, but this is going to be real interesting for the Bills because I have a feeling that emotional win last week. You know you can beat the Jets literally with half your squad. I still think the Bills will win, but it'll be closer. I will give them 10. I'm not 14. 2 touchdowns is a lot.
How do you prevent yourself from being overconfident?
I think there's a couple things that come into play here with this game this week. The Bills, if you look at the Pro Bowl selections, I think the Bills got completely dissed.
Yeah.
I don't think any of their secondary, both of their safeties didn't make it. I think Josh Allen is an alternative.
Yep.
Or an alternate. And you look at their linebacking crew, I think that they have something to prove on that defensive side of the ball. They've had some incredible games, but I think going into Atlanta, knowing if they win out, they win the division, I think that's motivation alone. I truly believe that Buffalo will step up. My only issue again in that game is if Matt Ryan gets hot, look out, because when he's on, he's on.
So just the one more thing. Again, if you ever felt yourself before a game coming up flat, it says, we're in a little trouble because we're better than these guys, but I'm not feeling it today.
It's actually happened a few times to me in college, but typically you've got enough leaders on the team, a lot of veteran players.
Typically, do they?
That can turn the boat around. I'm having
Because that's the first thing you brought up today.
Leadership. I'm having trouble figuring out who the leaders are in the locker room. I know Milano's a leader on defense. He plays like he leads. I don't know. I know Josh Allen is a good leader by example, but I don't think he has enough history with the team and enough as many years with the team. I don't know if quarterbacks typically are the leader, but I don't know how people respond to that.
Stephon Diggs, if I had to pick one guy, if they can get him going early, that game's over.
Do they cover?
I think they cover, yeah.
Do they cover?
Yeah.
I think they do not. I'd take the 13.5. With Rochester Press Box, Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Ralph Honda, and Like It or Not is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
From travel to radio days to bloopers. Oh, and I have a special guest. You know Steve Hausman. He joins me on my next podcast at thegetawayguy.com.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. This segment, like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today. Tariq, like it or not, the fact that out of the 32 teams in the NFL, 12 of them are either 8-7 or 7-8.
Well, I'll definitely get into this more with unfinished business, but I love it. And here's why. When you look at about maybe 2 months ago, so many teams confused. Aaron Rodgers, beginning of the season, not on the same page with the team, doesn't really gel with the head coach. Have problems coming in. What do? Win a division. Same sort of thing. Tom Brady can't do it again. How can they possibly do this? He does it again. I love the fact that teams that were buried, the Dolphins, buried early on, even teams that were kind of not playing well, and turned it around. Detroit looks like they've got a little umph going into the future next year. The fact that these teams, Dolphins specifically, they just surprised me. Even the Steelers, if you think about it, how are they still around? Like literally these teams should have been eliminated or had no chance, and everybody's got a chance, except my Giants. Everybody's got a chance to really make the playoffs this week. I think it's great. COVID, injuries, everything plays together, even the bad referee calls.
Is there something we're not seeing in terms of, or are these teams just this close in ability?
I think there's tremendous parity right now in the NFL, and it's been quite some time since I can remember that there were so many competitive teams and anybody can win on any given day. That's a truism now.
This is what the NFL always wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, look at so many different teams people believed in so much. The Browns, again, this has got to be their year. And look at they're right around 800 again, still around that sort of hovering zone. The elite still go to the elite. The teams that are coming up, they are down early. They find a way to bring it back together. The Bills had to overcome a hurdle the last month, and now they look like they're making a play. It is so interesting to see teams fall and teams rise during this time period. It's great. I love it.
Bobby, like it or not, the transfer portal.
I'm still trying to figure out the whole concept of the transfer portal. You've got players that are still playing in college, put themselves in the portal, and still step on the field with the current teams they're with. And I have no idea what that can do to a psyche of a football team in the locker room. I have tremendous amount of problems with how the portal works. And then if you talk about D2, D3 guys that want to go into the portal, they have to sit a year. I don't understand that issue as well. So the D1 guys that go into the portal, they don't have to sit. They can stay there and hang out there for as long as they want. They can remove themselves from the portal anytime. But I think it really is a problem with the current team they're with.
And you as a teammate of a guy coming in will probably have an issue with him, you said.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. When you've got a guy that leaves the portal and comes to your program, he's probably expecting to play and take the position from someone. Yeah. And if he's already doesn't have that chemistry, he isn't part of the structure, the fight, the grind, the tears, the blood, if he's not part of that, I think it's going to be a tremendous problem.
I think I'll add on to that the personality that you're bringing in. Mm-hmm. The kid who wants to transfer, maybe lost his job, he's coming into a brand new program. Then you obviously might take a job away, but then throw on top of that, what kind of kid am I getting? Is he really interested in this program growing, or is he interested in playing out his 2 to 3 years and going to the NFL?
Yeah, you didn't recruit him, you didn't meet his family, you didn't visit the house.
Right. Is this a business deal, or is this a teammate?
It is a business deal.
Wow. It's the way the college business goes now.
That's right.
Pretty interesting. Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
Came now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. It's time for Unfinished Business. Tariq, why don't you start us off?
We were talking about it just moments ago of teams, how many of them are 7-7, maybe on the bubble, maybe in the hunt for the playoffs. And guess who's not? My New York Football Giants. Why? Because we are starting all over again without even realizing it. Basically, last year, everybody gave me the business about Daniel Jones not being a starting quarterback. Once again, he is hurt again. Now, not his fault. He played hard. A great guy, but isn't an NFL #1 quarterback. And that's exactly what these playoff teams have. The other issue we have is head coach. Now, I do believe we'll get a new GM, but I'm not quite sure if they'll let Joe Judge go. The owner has given the quote-unquote vote of confidence to Joe Judge. I am not confident in Judge as the head football coach for this team. I think he's a great speaker of men. But the problem is he doesn't coach the defense, he doesn't coach the offense, and that's what you kind of need. Special teams is great, but you can't score 21 points with just special teams. My point is this. I love Joe Judge's spirit. I love the way he talks. I like that he comes from a great background in the New England Patriots. It isn't getting the results. And I feel we'll go through another year without getting these results yet again, whomever at quarterback we will have, and be looking for a new coach. I root for Joe Judge. I just don't think we're going to get the results.
What's going on with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers? Old school Steelers punch you in the mouth, run the football, 2,000-yard runners. What's going on with the Steelers? My problem with the Steelers is Ben's kind of getting a little old, can't move out of the pocket. It becomes incredibly predictable. Their running game is nothing. They're getting beat on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Their offensive line is shoddy, if anything. And their receivers are a little bit arrogant and cocky. So when you look back at what's going on with the Steelers, I don't know how Tomlin's handling this in the locker room. A lot of personalities, a lot of mistakes. They don't come to play. I don't think they've scored a touchdown in the first quarter all season. So what's going on with the Steelers? Tomlin, you got to get things right. You got to steer the ship correctly, and I hope you make a lot of changes next year. I don't know who your rookie quarterback's going to be. We need a new one, though.
It came in a simply worded email a couple of weeks ago. The Danielle Downey Golf Classic will not return in 2022. Named in honor of one of Rochester's golf heroes, the Downey Classic had a successful 7-year run at Brookley. The organizing committee chairman noted that, quote, "We are somewhat saddened by what we feel may be the end of an era in Rochester." Indeed. The Symetra Tour event came on the heels of the LPGA leaving Rochester in 2014. There had been a women's professional tournament in Rochester every summer since 1977. It's 45 years. What else lasts that long? The mutual love affair peaked in the years that Pat Bradley, Nancy Lopez, and Patty Sheehan were dominating the tour. When the names on the tour became less familiar, the newness began to fade, and the LPGA fell out of favor here in a long, painful decline. Money was a stated issue, but we simply fell out of love with watching women's golf. The same as we did with professional soccer. The Rochester Rhinos are the hottest ticket in the 1990s, enough so that we built them a stadium. Then when Yari Elnut, Scott Schweitzer, and Bill Andrecki exited the stage, we fell out of love with that team, and it went away. Change is constant. Change is tough, and it becomes more difficult as we get older, and what we perceive as the good old days are left farther behind. We turn a page every December 31st and hope for the best in the new year as we try to find some comfort in ways to replace what we've lost. That is our unfinished business, and that is our program. Bobby, great to see you again. Thanks for the contributions over all these years.
Awesome to be here. I appreciate the invite. T, great spending time with you, and hopefully I'll be here again.
Good to have him back. I'd love to have
What
him
do you
back
think?
in.
Do a vote on it?
Oh, yeah, of course. We got to put him in the rotation. Have to have it.
Hey, thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the new year. We'll see you next week.